You're sitting at your desk on a Tuesday morning. Nothing dramatic has happened. No screaming. No threats. No obvious reason to panic. But something feels different. Your manager walks past and doesn't say good morning. A coworker you've always been friendly with suddenly seems careful around you. You get left off an email thread you should have been on. And when you bring it up, someone says, "Oh, it was just an oversight." You smile and say, "No worries." But inside, something tightens. You can't name it. You can't prove it. But something in your body already knows what your brain hasn't caught up to yet. That feeling? That low, quiet, persistent sense that something is wrong? That's not anxiety. That's not insecurity. That's not you being dramatic. That's intelligence. Your nervous system picking up signals your conscious mind is being trained to ignore. Because here's what nobody tells you about toxic jobs: they don't destroy you all at once. They do it slowly, quietly, while you're busy trying harder, staying later, and convincing yourself it's going to get better. Today, we're exposing 5 signs your job is actively destroying you, and why most people don't see them until it's too late. Fais attention. Because you might be living inside one of these signs right now. Hi lovelies, welcome to Delaney versus the System. Sign 1, your effort has stopped producing results. You were taught that hard work leads to recognition. That if you put in the hours, deliver results, and stay committed, the organization will reward you. So you work harder. You stay late. You say yes to every project. You over-deliver consistently. And for a while, it works. Or at least, it seems to. But then something shifts. You deliver a strong project. Silence. You solve a problem nobody else could. It gets mentioned briefly, then absorbed into the machine like it never happened. You ask for a raise or a promotion. You're told, it's not the right time, or, we're watching your progress, or the most psychologically dangerous phrase in corporate history, we really value you here. That phrase. Memorize it. It means nothing is coming. Here's what's actually happening: in healthy organizations, results create leverage. In toxic ones, results create dependency. They need you performing, but they have no intention of rewarding you. Because the moment they reward you, they lose the tool they've been using to manage you. Your effort isn't being ignored. It's being harvested. Watch for this pattern: your workload grows but your title doesn't. Your responsibilities expand but your compensation doesn't. You're trusted with high-stakes work but excluded from high-stakes conversations. That's not a performance issue. That's an extraction model. And the longer you stay, the more you normalize being underpaid for overwork. The sign isn't that your hard work isn't noticed. It's that it's noticed, and deliberately not rewarded. Because rewarding you would change the dynamic. When effort stops producing outcomes, you're not in a job anymore. You're in a trap designed to look like opportunity. Sign 2, your mental health is changing and you've normalized it. Sunday evenings feel heavy. But that's normal, right? Everyone dreads Monday. You snap at people you love, but work is stressful. You can't sleep, but there's a lot on your plate. You've stopped doing things you used to enjoy, but you're just tired. You tell yourself, this is just what work feels like. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You're not experiencing normal stress. You're experiencing chronic psychological activation, your nervous system running in threat mode for so long that it's started to feel like your default state. Think about who you were 3 years ago. Did you used to laugh more easily? Did you used to have ideas, energy, excitement about things outside work? Did you sleep without running through tomorrow's problems? If the answer is yes, something has been taken from you. Slowly. Imperceptibly. In small daily doses. Toxic workplaces don't traumatize you with one big event. They condition you through repetition. Unpredictable feedback. Passive aggression disguised as professionalism. Goals that shift the moment you reach them. Praise that evaporates when you need it most. Your nervous system can't separate psychological threat at work from physical threat. It responds the same way: cortisol, hypervigilance, emotional shutdown. And when that response runs continuously for months or years, it rewires you. The most dangerous part? You adapt. You lower your baseline. What would have alarmed you 2 years ago now feels manageable. You become fluent in surviving the environment instead of thriving in your life. And one day, someone who loves you says, "You haven't seemed like yourself in a long time." And you realize they're right. You just hadn't noticed the person leaving. Your mental health isn't collateral damage to a high-pressure career. It's a measurement. And right now, it's measuring something you need to hear. Sign 3, your reputation is being quietly managed without your knowledge. You think your reputation at work is built by your performance. By the quality of your work. By being professional, reliable, and good at what you do. That's what they told you. That's what most people believe. You're in a meeting. A question comes up in your area of expertise. Before you can speak, someone else answers it. Your manager nods and moves on. Later that week, you hear secondhand that someone described you as still developing in a leadership conversation. A project you led gets presented by someone else. Your name comes up only in passing. You notice that in meetings, your ideas get acknowledged politely, then ignored, only to resurface 3 weeks later coming from someone else's mouth, now celebrated. This is reputation management. And it's happening to you without your participation. Here's what's actually going on. In political workplaces, visibility and credit are currency. And like all currency, they can be redistributed. Your ideas, your relationships, your credibility, they can be quietly absorbed by people who understand that perception is the real game, while you're focused on performance. Watch who speaks about you when you're not in the room. Watch who gets credit in upward conversations. Watch whether your manager advocates for you or simply manages you. There's a specific phrase you need to know: strategic invisibility. It's when someone in power ensures you remain competent enough to be useful, but invisible enough to be bypassed. You're not failing. You're being contained. And the worst part? It's subtle enough that when you try to describe it, you sound paranoid. That's by design. If your work is excellent but your trajectory is flat, the problem isn't your performance. The problem is that someone is benefiting from keeping you exactly where you are. Sign 4, your instincts are being consistently overridden. You raise a concern. Something feels off about a process, a decision, a direction. You say it professionally. Carefully. You come prepared with reasoning. And the response is some version of, "I hear you, but," or, "We've thought about that." Or the classic, "That's not really how we do things here." So you drop it. Because you don't want to be seen as difficult. This is the pattern. You sense something. You say something. It gets dismissed. You wonder if you were wrong. You try again a different way. It gets dismissed again. Eventually, you stop raising concerns. And that moment of silence, is exactly what the system wanted. Because here's the psychological mechanism at play: when environments consistently override your instincts and your input, you start to distrust your own perception. This is called gaslighting at a systemic level. It doesn't require one dramatic person lying to you. It just requires a culture that routinely treats your judgment as irrelevant. Over time, you stop trusting yourself at work. You second-guess ideas before you voice them. You edit yourself in real time. You stay quiet in rooms where you used to speak. And people in power call this maturity. Or professional development. Or learning to read the room. Here's what they're actually calling it: compliance. A workplace that consistently overrides your professional instincts isn't developing you. It's shrinking you. And this one is particularly insidious, because the damage follows you. People who've had their judgment overridden for years carry that self-doubt into their next role. Into interviews. Into new teams. Into their own business ideas. You don't just lose confidence at this job. You lose it in yourself. Your instincts are data. Sharp, valuable, experiential data. And when an organization refuses to engage with them, not occasionally, but consistently, it's not a learning environment. It's an extraction environment. And it's extracting your most valuable professional asset, your judgment. Sign 5, you've started to become a version of yourself you don't recognize. You're just being professional. Adaptable. Realistic. You've learned how this place works and you've adjusted accordingly. That's what professionals do, right? But think carefully. Do you say things in meetings that you don't actually believe, because you know that's what the room wants to hear? Do you stay quiet about unethical behavior because the risk feels too high? Do you find yourself being sharp with people you respect, carrying the tension of work into relationships that don't deserve it? Have you started to think about people in the way you hear your leadership think about people? If you answered yes to any of these, you're not just stressed. You're being shaped. This is the deepest, most dangerous sign of all. Because it doesn't feel like damage. It feels like survival. It feels like learning. It feels like adaptation. But there's a difference between adapting to an environment and being transformed by it. When you start lying slightly more easily. When cynicism replaces your natural curiosity. When you catch yourself treating a junior colleague the way someone once treated you, and you stop yourself, shocked, that's not professional growth. That's contamination. Toxic workplaces don't just take your time and your energy. They take your character. Slowly. By making compromises feel necessary. By making silence feel strategic. By making small ethical violations feel normal. And then one day, someone who started around the same time as you, someone who left a year ago, runs into you, and there's a look in their eyes. You don't look the same. And you both know it. Tactical survival insight. So what do? First, you document everything. Not because you're going to war, but because clarity is protective. Write down patterns. Dates. Conversations. When you've been left off communications. When credit has shifted. When your instincts were overridden and what happened. You're not building a case. You're building an accurate picture of reality, because toxic environments are very good at making you doubt yours. Second, you stop explaining and start positioning. Don't try to change the culture through persuasion. Start updating your resume, your LinkedIn, your network. Quietly, professionally, with no urgency that anyone around you can see. Desperation is visible. Strategic preparation is invisible. Third, you protect your psychology before you protect your job. This means outside of work relationships, physical activity, rest, and ideally a therapist or trusted mentor who has no stake in your workplace politics. You need an anchor in reality outside the system that's trying to define yours. And finally, you make the decision. Not out of rage. Not impulsively. But clearly. Because the question isn't whether you can survive this job. The question is who you'll be when you do. Ending most people don't quit toxic jobs when they should. They wait for something undeniable. A final humiliation. A written warning. A breakdown in a bathroom stall before a Monday morning meeting. They wait because leaving feels like failure. Because they've been told that resilience means staying. Because they've invested so much, so many years, so much effort, so much identity, that leaving feels like admitting it was all for nothing. But here's what nobody talks about: the cost of staying is not paid all at once. It's paid in increments. A little judgment here. A little self-trust there. A Sunday evening. Another Sunday evening. An old friend asking when you became so hard. A mirror you stopped looking directly into. Your career is long. This job is not your career. And the most dangerous thing a workplace can steal from you isn't your time, or your ideas, or even your next promotion. It's your belief that you're worth more than what they gave you. Protect that. Above everything else. Because the moment you stop believing you're worth more, they've already won. Subscribe for weekly videos on workplace psychology and corporate power dynamics.